Welcome to Football Manager 26. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Here, I really like to do a worst to first hard ultimate challenge, but also with some sort of unique angle on it. So what we're going to do here for Football Manager 26 is Youth Factory. The club is back. They make their return. We're going to be in the 7th tier of England this time. That's a couple tiers below the National League, where Wrexham came out of a handful of years ago, for those only vaguely familiar with the structure of the pyramid. But to add to our challenge, to really make it a worst to first challenge, is all of the players on our roster begin with a current ability of 1 and 1s in every attribute. Now, actually, a few days from now, they're going to have a little bit, because a current ability 1 is not 1s across the board. It's actually about 5s or 6s kind of across the board, but that's where they'll be. The unique element for this challenge, the Wonderkid wheel. We will, for each intake along the way, and we'll get one this very first season, a single player will be elevated in the direction of Wonderkid status, but it's going to be dependent on the wheel. Now, a Premier League talent is about a 140 potential and or current ability. It's out of a 200, a maximum. Best players in the world are high 180s or lowest 190s. On the wheel, I have anything from a 100 all the way up to that 200. I have 15 that fall in that range of below Wonderkid status, a 160 or below, in potential ability. I'm not going to do anything to their current ability. I'm going to give them the potential to be great. Those 15 in the 160 or below range will always be on the board. But from 161 to 200, those last 40, there's one each on the wheel next to me here. And each time any one of them is drawn, it will be permanently removed from the board. So we have up to 40 Wonderkids over the lifetime. I don't think it's going to be a 40-year playthrough necessarily, but I'm curious to see just how long it takes us to move up the ranks with a truly horrible team that, oh, by the way, has a 100-year transfer ban, so this is all going to be done in-house. But not only do the players have 1 in every attribute, but the club has a 1 in every attribute. So our corporate facilities, our training, our youth intake, everything is baseline, as basic as it gets. Now, the addition of 1 Wonderkid alone is not going to get us anywhere. It's not going to get us out of the 7th or the minimum of the database I'm using, 8th tier, where we're destined to head to after Season 1. We need one other advantage to give us a leg up on the competition to have a chance at growth. And that leg up is we have 1 million fans. We're going to begin Season 1 with a stadium of just 2,000, but with 1 million fans wanting to buy tickets. I'm quite hopeful that it does go as planned and we're able to fill all 2,000 seats game by game. And from that revenue, it's going to take a while, certainly, especially when we also have very little money right now and 125,000 in debt on top of it. So we're starting from essentially below zero, trying to grow, but we should make pretty good money this first season, and hopefully the board will be willing to reinvest that so we can get away from these base level numbers and compete, especially when we can't make any external signings. I have taken over Wimborne, which is just on the outskirts of Bournemouth. We are competing in the Southern League Premier South, one of 4 divisions in the 7th tier. We begin with just 10 rostered players, but luckily there are 6 players in the reserves, so we have 16 to get us through this first season. But with everybody at a current ability of 1, none of them are going to do us any good whatsoever. But we need to pick one of them to spin the wheel for and make an increase to their ability. And even though the current ability is going to start at 1, we are going to have some potential with 1 player on the squad as we rush through this first season. We've chosen the apt named Ben Scory. Perfect soccer name there. I made him a few years younger just to give him some longevity. I've also given him a very long contract here at the club, which makes it less likely that others are going to come along and offer anything on him anytime soon. I'm really curious to see whether he will develop in the club atmosphere at all with high potential. But speaking of, how high is that potential? Now, before I roll this wheel, I just want to let you know, I don't want him to roll one of our 40 Wonderkid slots. I'm really hoping that he's going to take any of the other 15. A 160 would be the most ideal scenario. I don't want to lose one of our 140 on somebody who's got a current ability of 1 when there's literally no facilities at the club. Let's roll and find out what we're working with. It's going to be a Wonderkid. Good for him. Terrible for me. We're working with a 193 right off the bat. Let's hope that he just naturally has some drive to reach that here early on. I do not look anything at his profile mentally and what he's going to be capable of there. His base attributes are all a 1. I didn't touch the other hidden attributes. So we'll have to see what his personality is like. So current ability 1, potential ability 193. This is something I'm going to refine over time. However, the basic tactic we are going for is a 4-3-3. While out of possession, we're going to do a 4-2-2-1-1. A little more coverage in front of the defensive line and a couple guys to apply pressure and getting passing lanes up ahead, but otherwise it's not quite a park the bus scenario, but it's definitely sitting back a fair bit here for at least the early seasons. One key, especially to the early days of this playthrough, for it to succeed is we had to become unfireable so that we can stay at the club. Well, the first piece of good news on my million fans project is we have our capacity of 2,000. We have over 1,800 season ticket holders, so we're pretty close to that maximum day in, day out, if not for sure there. And I've pushed forward to the first game of the year, regular season that is. I don't think we're going to be going a full 90 on this one because it's not supposed to take very long at all to find ourselves in a whole heap of trouble, at least based on how the preseason has gone. That is the expectation with this one. We are the team in green and black here as we make our way. The new match engine certainly is an improvement. Now, was I a fan of having to wait an extra year for it? Am I a fan of all the bugs that have come with it? No, none of that. But it was long since due, and I'm happy that we're finally at this stage and progressing, and I'm impressed that we have gone 7 minutes without giving up a goal. With a current ability of 1 for every single player out there, expectations are quite low, and then of course we have one player with any sort of expectation, and that is Scory. Well, Scory picked up a knock. He's the first one of the year to get any sort of injury. He'll be fine in a couple of days, but his fitness level is not great today because of that knock, so he's not going to make it the distance. And his current ability is still a 1, even though he's got incredible potential ability. It's going to take a little bit of time, and we're going to have to start investing if we're going to get anywhere. Now, you can see we've brought quite the away crowd to this one, and so we do have that fan base. It is showing up. That's good. Home crowd did pretty well, showing up for their season opener as well. For now, despite the really poor ability, we're hanging in there. We're kind of okay. And one way that we are okay is the simple fact that even though we gave every player on the squad as we drop to 1-0, 15 minutes in, first goal of the season, give it up. Many more will come. a current ability 1 is not a 1 in every ability. And so we have seen the dust settle, and a lot of the players have roughly a 6 kind of across the board in just about everything. That is what a current ability 1 looks like. And so that's about where all the players are now, which is still much lower than our opposition. Now, skill-wise, a lot of the skills are 6, 7, 8 for the tier, so we can hang in there a bit, but we're going to be a lot slower. We're going to have a much lower mental capacity than those we're going head-to-head with at this level. Speaking of at this level, you can see how that individual was able to really make a run and cut inside on us, and we just couldn't react in any meaningful way. We sort of kept him in front of us, but that was about it. But what we're kind of looking at here is a scenario where we're just going to get outworked game after game after game, no matter what the tactic is that we go for. Preseason wise, I was giving up 8 to 9 goals per match. So to be in the 23rd minute and still being down just 1, if we're giving up 8 or 9 goals, that's 1 every 10 minutes or so. So well below the rate right now. Having a decent tactic could help us out a little bit. I will be surprised. If we score any goals before our youth intake. But our comparison to the rest of the league, a typical player in this league only has a current ability of between about a 30 to a 40. So doesn't take much to get there. So far I haven't made any moves coaching staff, facility-wise, though the preseason alone has already brought in a good amount of money for us. Of course, 2 chief reasons for that. 1, we've had a couple home games in the preseason and made decent money from those, but more importantly is the season ticket sales, which will provide the bulk of our income for the entire season, because our season ticket sales amount to like 90% of the stadium capacity. So we're not going to make much money in the rest of the year after this. It's almost all coming here and now during this preseason phase. We did pick up a shirt sponsor, but we're talking about like $50,000 for the year. Pretty small potatoes in comparison. Pickering is the guy who's really giving us a hard time and has made it 2 in the 26th minute. Face cam for this series, this is where I'm planning on keeping it. It's covering up the jersey number, the position for the last 3 guys on the pitch for us, but you still have the names, you know who's there, and we still have their ratings and the important information regarding their fitness, form, mood, all of that. So I think the key details are there, and it of course then does a lot to help keep the cam out of the way of what's going on here. And just as we are breaking into the 31st minute, there's that 3rd goal, and they're right on right now. So this is the mess we are in for this season, which is going to be blowout loss after blowout loss after blowout loss. Everything is going to come down to our first intake to turn things around. So this first season is really going to be a rapid progression. And speaking of, I think once we get to halftime on this one, that'll be enough to be seen of this. And then we'll get into what I can do with coaching staff and or facilities or youth levels, so that I'm not just getting one player with potential each season, but others, and that, maybe, just maybe, fingers crossed, some of them have the kind of current ability to compete at this level. And just how many are we going to be bringing in at these lowest levels? Are we going to have 3 to 5 players? Are we going to have the typical 15 or so? We'll see if they make changes here with FM26 on that matter. Now 10 minutes from halftime. Bad giveaway there, but we were possessing fairly well before that. Looked like he may have strayed offside there, but the flag stays down. Good layoff, and luckily that's kicked straight at Plain, who puts it out for a corner. Oh, love the extra cams here. This is so nice. And near post, they're able to put that one in, even though we had somebody on the post. Slips in right beside the post defender and between him and the goalkeeper. Nobody can react to it. Goalkeeper goes to his knees. It goes up and over his shoulder. 4-0 before half. Now, technically, we have had 4 shot attempts. So based on that, you figure at some stage we will be capable of getting a goal this season. I mean, we haven't had 0 attempts now. They've been so bad that we haven't even had a highlight for them, so they haven't been dangerous chances by any stretch, while Pickering continues to pick us apart. Oh, love the new background stuff, too, as you're getting village here, you're getting the trees. That is an insane improvement upon previous FM editions. And I've heard, though I haven't heard that it's factual, but I've heard modders will be able to essentially create authentic or near authentic stadiums now to be modded into the game. I do have a number of mods that we are playing with here for this database that include badges for all of the teams from the 6th tier and above and throughout other leagues. Player faces have all been added in, but in the future it sounds like getting the real stadiums is going to be a distinct possibility, or at least close to getting the real stadium, and that's going to be really cool when that gets added in. So we've reached halftime with 4 goals. Like I said, 8-9, nothing is the typical playthrough that we are encountering. You can see their forward line is absolutely dominating, where we, well, ratings could be worse. We're consistent. Fletcher can't hardly get a touch, but that's where we're at. Let's go ahead and push forward to post-game. Let's see if we can spend some money in a few helpful ways. Well, the final score wasn't as bad as the first half suggested it might be, and this was actually the best game we've had of the season so far. 6-0. But yeah, we got hammered. It was bad. It was ugly. But the bleeding did slow in the second half. And I think more importantly is we had 5 attempts on goal. Only 2 were on target. The XG was only a 0.25. But that does suggest that at some stage, this team will be capable of scoring a goal or 2 across the season. But they're not going to get a win. They're not going to get a win. So we are going to be dead last. We are guaranteed a relegation. It's all going to come down to the intake. In 1 month, we've gone from no money to over $1 million. We are already announced that we're going to start repaying our loans that we have. And it's a rather small amount. Could almost pay it off instantly, but that's not how things are going to work with that. That means we have some added expenses this season, and the balance is only going to go so far when we've already picked up all of at least what I expect to be the vast majority of our finances for the season. So month by month now, we are probably going to lose a fair bit of money. One thing we can count on is salaries. That's $300K over the course of the season. So we've got to set aside some for that. But it would be nice to get our first upgrade on the go and at least a little bit of coaching staff to see Scory at least make some headway. The board's not going to be very happy either, as we're not winning and not doing anything, and I just arrived, so there's actually a good chance that they are going to say no. We're going to go with improve youth recruitment and see if the board is going to help us develop for the future. They'll get back and let me know. And they have rejected it. And they just simply says at this time we're unwilling to grant your request. However, despite the board's initial rejection, they were willing to listen if you believe you can put forward a compelling case for it. So let's go ahead and discuss. We only have 2 options, 2 angles. Quality of players entering our youth team. You haven't been with us for very long. Work with what you have for now. That's what I expected on this first occasion. So we're going to have to push forward a good while before we can do something. Let's wait at least a month. At the moment, most of my staff positions are already filled. So unless we go into firing individuals, best thing we could do is get a physio. And there's only a single person on the planet who wants the job. So we'll talk to them. They want the under 18s. Let's go ahead and promote them to actual physio. My scout has been poached, and one thing I definitely noticed as I looked into staff is it's not like FM previously was, where you can get really good staff really quick. Yeah, you could only get such a level, but you could always get the best staff in your division quickly and easily. What I noticed is there's only a dozen or so people who are interested in any level of job within the organization. Not how it used to work, so it's probably going to be harder to find replacements. Well, it didn't take long as I expected. For one thing, the losses haven't been as bad as preseason. 7-0 is the worst we've seen. But we've also had just a 2-0 loss, a 4-0 loss, and now a 4-1 loss. First goal of the game by the fifth game of the season. If we could get a goal every 5 games or so with a decent intake, you would think we'd be a lot more competitive next season. It just depends on how many players we get, how decent they are, whether we have any hope of not seeing back-to-back relegations and out just like that. Like I said, I might need a little bit of help or boost to get through the next season and avoid that second relegation, as we can't get relegated out of the 8th tier. For now, that's why I put us in the 7th, so we have the ability to go backwards for a little bit. Scory has already picked up his second injury of the season. I think it could be helping or hindering his growth at the moment, but I'll definitely be curious to keep an eye on. But this is where his attributes are at for now. Nothing rapid is happening. His set piece abilities seem to have taken a little bit of a hit, and he is assigned as our main set piece guy. As we go into September, we're obviously the worst team in the league, and compared to average, we are significantly below. Pass completion is similar to other teams in the league, but cross completion's really poor. Dribbles not far below league average, but shots on target well below. Third hit the target, though. Eventually some of those are going to go in, but shots per game is dead last in the league at 4.9. Non-penalty expected goals per game is 0.4. Actual goals per game is 0.1. So we are dead last in all of those categories, where we're not as far below average in things like fouls against per game. We have yet to score another goal, but we've now had 2 1-0 losses, including Chichester City in the FA Cup. So yeah, it's rough, but like I said, with an intake group, I'm optimistic. Even later than that, it's going to be April 10th is our intake day, and again, this is the one we want to pick up, the youth setup. For now, at least, that is everything we have going forward. Ignore those ratings, by the way. Those 4 stars is because everybody's consistent with one another. Everybody is level as being the best player on the team, as they are all equally bad. That is our team comparison head to head, not compared to the other players of the league. But as the finances have added $1 million more, and yeah, there was still some season tickets being sold at the very beginning of that. There hasn't been since then. We've just had league games, and the league games have netted us a good amount of income. It's probably way too soon, but it's worth a shot. There's different ways to skin a cat when it comes to youth recruitment. Junior coaching budget could help as well, so we're going to go ahead and try that one this time. And they have rejected once again, but let's see. I still haven't been with them long enough. We're going to have to wait still a little bit longer. Let's give it another month. Well, we've managed to get our first point of the season, not through scoring goals, but by not giving them up. A 0-0 draw the next day. It was 1st or 2nd of September here. Well, we've secured that second goal of the season, and it actually gave us the lead, our first lead of the year, and we held it until the second half. Not Wayne Rooney, but Lane Rooney. Goal in the 56th equalizes, and then they get the game winner in the 85th. Pretty late, but then it just opened the floodgates, and they got 2 more in the moments to follow. But we are absolutely getting close to at least We're not as far off the rest of the league as one would suspect. They don't have much more skill than we do. It's just the athleticism part where we just can't seem to keep up with the other team. So if the other team plays slow, doesn't take advantage of athleticism, gives us a chance at least to secure a few points along the way. It's October. Finances are over $3 million. Let's see if we can improve youth recruitment once again. This is really mostly about time. Confirmation that Scory is making some progress. According to that progress report, this was his injury time where he had settled at, which was current ability 1. He's still current ability 1, but gains are happening. He is going somewhere, and he's the only player that's going somewhere on that one. I'd have him train quickness, but coaching-wise, that's our biggest weakness, and it's not going to help him. He's not going to progress there, so I don't know if maybe we could just worry about something else like ball control or passing, so you can attacking movement provides a lot of things. Let's try that one. It looks like the old system about criticizing development when they're not training well and praising development when they are training well does seem to still exist out there. Of course, all of these guys have potential ability of 1 besides a single player in Scory, so none of what else is out there really is mattering, but he's progressing at least a little bit. Still unwilling to grant our request. Let's go ahead and discuss it and find out why. They think it's already good enough for a club our size, therefore they reject it. So we've got to try to get on with some of the other. We'll try to convince them, but no, they stick to it. Oh, hold on. We can make a promise about playing young players in the team. Okay, so I need to play young players on the team. We can't really do that until April, though. If I have any young players on the bench, though, they are going to get moved into the squad. So we postponed it. We might be able to get through with this one. We have to play meaningful playing time to at least 2 young players. Joe Ryan on the bench is 18, and Scory we made 18. That's your 2 young players right there. So Munn's out of the starting lineup. Joe Ryan is in. Munn himself is 21. It's another 4-1 loss, but Ben Scory did get his first goal of the campaign with a penalty in the 36th minute. Scory is making progress. He's got a 7 now in decisions, so signs are there of something positive because he's got such high potential. Everything else around us, though, is not supporting that kind of development. So it's been another month. I'll wait until we get into December, a couple more weeks, and then we'll try again on the board. Of course, we're still waiting to hear what happens when it comes to the youth facility one, but there's lots of other things like the facilities, like expanding the stadium so we could bring even more money in a hurry, making better money than I thought we would this season, the way I set up the finances. So we know it's possible to get through to the board right now, and this seems like a good opportunity as we're now sitting on 5 million plus. The increased junior coaching budget was another one that could definitely help us out, but improving the training facilities or increasing the youth level, let's give it a shot on that youth level. Right now I'm going for anything I can get youth level first and foremost. So once again, the board has said no, but they're willing to talk about it. They'd rather us rely on us signing players, yet we have a 100-year transfer ban. It would be nice if the game could ever recognize that. Well, the performances have finally really tanked the morale of the entire team. You can see most of the guys, though, are still more or less neutral. We'll go with the heads don't drop, and yes, that's a great response. There's the overall actual, even after what we just did to help it out. So they're still pretty down, but that gave a nice little boost to the whole team. Mid-December, and we have our advanced look on what the intake is going to be. And again, this is all compared to the current squad, which is a bunch of current ability 1 guys. So as bad as the intake is going to be, it's never going to be as bad as what we have on the roster right now, which means we're looking at fullbacks, center backs, and central midfielders as the primary youth candidates. Quite a few prospects that are looking excellent for us, even a goalkeeper and a couple attacking midfielders. No defensive mids though, no wing backs. That part hurts a little bit. It's something that's going to be the new roster going forward, other than Scory, who we want to hopefully keep developing. Officially relegated after the first week of February with a lot of season left to go. We've scored 14 goals, which was actually better than I expected, but our defense has been absolutely abysmal. We can't stop teams. But we've got $8 million, and so we've actually turned professional. There's one positive that's come out of this season. We're also going to have much better budget than what we've had in the past season, but we can't spend $5 million on transfers. We're going to have to switch that over to wages. We also scored 2 goals in a match for the first time this season, coming up just short of our second draw. But we did pick up some vacancies on the coaching staff as a result. But suddenly, as we've turned professional, the expectation salary-wise is not matching the expectations of a semi-professional side. So salaries are more than tripling, but we haven't made the adjustment on that one yet. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to affect change in that way so that we can actually bring in the staff members to help us out. No one's going to join us on a full-time basis for what we're offering. We're going to ask to increase coach salaries as our next move. They have said no. I think it's going to have to happen organically, like the start of the season. Well, with 22 teams in the league, that means there's 21 opponents. Play everybody twice. It's a 42-game season. There's only 3 games left as we are about to hit our youth intake day. And it is the standard. We have 16 elite, compared to the rest of the team anyway, prospects coming in. So they will instantly take over as the first team squad, plus Scory as essentially a roster of 17. And if I have to hang on to 1 or 2 more for depth, I will. But otherwise, we will be letting go the entirety of the existing roster and starting from scratch with this first intake. However, we are talking about lowest level recruitment, lowest level youth coaching, lowest level across the board. Everything. We got a promise along the way that the board has not carried through with. They didn't give it to us. So we've had 0 upgrades all season long. The only achievement we made along the way is turning fully professional, which will have its benefit. More training means more development. But realistically, we're going to be looking at a single player from this group that, with more training days, starting from a higher level, better players surrounding them, and still with really good potential, should do more than what we've seen with Scory this season. However, the thing about Scory is across the entire year, he's picked up 2 points in development. That's it. He's improving in about 7 areas. Right now, I can't even hire new staff because of the contracts are in excess of what we have as a semi-pro club, but I think I should be able to hire new staff next year. So with a little more well-rounded staff and training every day, we'll see more than 2 points worth of development. But I don't expect that it's going to be much, and I might have to intervene in some way or another to make the team a little bit better this next year, so that we don't need to win the league or anything. We just need to not be relegated. We've only managed 1 draw this season, and it's going to instantly be a better squad. Just how much better is the question. That's going to do it for this very first episode. We are going to begin episode number 2 with a look at a full new squad and our first spin of the wheel, where it's going to affect change, because Scory was set up for failure from the beginning, and his high potential hurt more than anything. I knew that was a player that was going to set us up for failure. Now, in January, there was a lot of clubs that were interested in signing him. It did bump his value up, but nobody exceeded 30K, and his value went with it, so none of them went beyond what that value was. So he stuck around. Board didn't force it. 30K is not much for that level of financial benefit we have. But without being able to bring in others, and without the board wanting to make changes. Before you click away from the video, though, please take a moment, drop below. The algorithm is really important, and there's a lot of FM YouTubers out there. Now, of course, that is a group that thinned out significantly with the stall to the release of FM last year and abandonment of it. And a lot of the current FM YouTubers are not happy. They're spending a lot of their time complaining. And while I did note that there are issues, I have no intention of complaining about this game. I love Football Manager. It's my favorite sport, soccer, aka football, and I'm looking forward to where this challenge can take me, albeit surviving next season somehow. And we will do what we can to make sure that we do get there and have a chance at survival. But that's for the next episode. So if you can, click that like button, leave a comment to help with the algorithm. It goes a long ways towards getting this series visible to the public. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.